Soil versus aquaponics. Woo! The School of Aquaponics. The great debate has begun. Which one is more applicable to you and meets your requirements and your preference and your personality? That's what it pretty much boils down to, because there's always pros and cons and advantages and disadvantages to everything in life. We can't just say that there's one thing that's completely better than another, unless you're just biased and just or just fanatical. Then I guess in that case it works. But so let's get right into it. Let's talk about the advantages of soil. What advantages soil has over aquaponics? One of the advantages that soil has is that it's less expensive to start up. Now let's put this in context. I'm referring to if someone just wants to start growing right away, they can go in their backyard, dig up a few ditches or whatever, plant some seeds and start growing right then. So as far as someone getting started right off the top, it's much less expensive when you're dealing with soil than if you were trying to get an aquaponic system started up. So that's an advantage of soil. Another advantage that soil has is it doesn't require much knowledge. It doesn't require much background of anything. You can pretty much just find the fertilizer you're looking for, plant it down there, plant your seeds and get going. I have a neighbor over here, been farming probably for 30 years, has no clue about what a macronutrient is, none of that. Just knows how to put the plant in there, which fertilizer it needs, and gets going. Grows collards, grows all type of things with no problem. So it's not really a thinking man's game as an aquaponics is. It's more of a physical man's game. Like if you want to get out there and you're like a bull and you, like I had when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a few buddies who were like bulls. They can get out there and work. I'm telling you, work like it was the last day on earth. And that was their specialty, and that's what they were good at. They don't want to do any thinking or anything like that. Just say what to do, lift this up, go put it here, go dig here, boom, they're all into it. So if that's the type of person you are, you're more of a hands-on person and less of a administrative person or something like that, then that's going to be an advantage for soil. You can get out there and you pretty much don't have to do that much thinking in comparison to aquaponics. Let's keep it in context. You still have to think, but not as much as you have to plan and strategize as much as aquaponics. There's a lot more components that are going together. So let's keep that in the correct context. And also probably the biggest advantage that soil has over aquaponics is that it has the widest crop diversity. There's no even comparison to the type of crops you can grow in soil versus aquaponics. From the rooting crops, aquaponics, you can grow some rooting crops, but they don't come out as good. The potatoes and the carrots and things like that, soil is gonna get you out of there every time. It's gonna win in that competition. Even as far as super large trees like orange trees and apple trees, peach trees and all that stuff, like there's no comparison. You're not gonna go and build an aquaponic farm with peach trees and orange trees. It just makes no sense labor-wise, capital-wise, or even just common sense-wise. It makes no sense. So soil, you got to give it up to soil in that area big time. Big crop diversity. Now, moving on to aquaponics. One of the big benefits of aquaponics is the environmental impact that it has, especially using less water than soil, because it's a recirculating system. We don't have water that's being leached out of the system and then going into the soil and then eventually draining through the soil and making its way into ponds and freshwater lakes and then causing eutrophication. So the water savings is a huge benefit to aquaponics. Now, how much water aquaponics saves in comparison to soil? I don't know. There's people that make claims up to 90% less water, but I've never seen the research on that, so I'm not going to put that out there. So if any of you guys have the research that has been done on that, the scientific and peer-reviewed research, then you can go ahead and send that over, because we would love to see that, but I've never seen it. So all I do is know it does save water because it is a closed loop system. So now moving on to the next advantage of aquaponics is that we're able to harvest two types of products. We're able to harvest the fish and the vegetables. Look, we all heard the saying that 2 is better than 1. In this case, 2 is better than 1. You can get your protein from your fish and you can get your vitamins and minerals from the plants. This is one of the main benefits that makes aquaponics so appealing to people these days, just because of the fact that you get all-in-one system, a complete a diet pretty much in aquaponics. So that is a super advantage that aquaponics has over any type of growing method out there. Now, the last advantage that we're going to name for aquaponics is the fact that it is physically less labor intensive. This is a big advantage, in my opinion. If you're a thinking man, thinking person, thinking woman, whatever you want to call it, then aquaponics is going to be your go-to thing. Because, I mean, of course, in the beginning, it's going to start off with learning how to build, and that part is going to be more difficult. But as you get past the building stage and gradually start going on, then the slope of difficulty, the learning curve, starts to decrease. Whereas in soil, you start off at a certain point, and it pretty much plateaus right away. You can't, there's no, you have to get out there and physically work. That doesn't get any easier. You may get a little bit more efficient at it, but the curve or the learning curve pretty much plateaus over time. So while it might start off a little bit easier than aquaponics, it's pretty much going to be the same exact routine all the way through. It's not going to get any easier. It doesn't get any easier to go out there and till the soil. You have to go out there and do that. Whereas aquaponics, you build it up the first time, and then after that, you don't have to worry about going out there building it anymore. You can just worry about maintaining it. That's all it comes down to, is maintaining it. So when aquaponics, when I turn 30, I'm still going to have my back. When I turn 40, I'm still going to have my back. Turn 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, I'm still going to have my back. Now, I can't say the same thing for the soil. When I'm bending over, I may turn 30 years old. If I've been doing it when I started aquaponics, my back may have been out. All that bending over and doing all that because it's consistent. I build aquaponics up. I really don't like getting out there and getting all in the soil and stuff like that. You know, that's not appealing to me. It's not appealing to me. But I'm able to do it with aquaponics because I can see the end. I can get out there. I know once I build it up, I'm done. All I have to do is maintain it and do routine maintenance on it. And that is pretty much it right there. And I can think and I can strategize and I can plan and I can place, if I need to add any nutrients or whatever to raise pH, lower pH, I can put it in one place in the sump tank. And I know that it's going to get dispersed through all of the crops versus having to go out there and put nutrients in all the areas where the plants are at in the soil and go up and down all these rows and do all that. You don't have to do all that. We don't have to go out there and till the ground and do all that. You know what does that for us in aquaponics? It's called a water pump. A water pump does all that labor-intensive stuff that you have to do in soil. It does it for us at a fraction of the cost. You can't compete with the price of a water pump to run that, to do all that. A water pump is working 24 hours a day, 24 hours a day for pennies on the dollar. You can't find anyone in the world to do that and be as consistent, and you know it's going to do it. You know it's not going to get tired. It might fail every once in a while, but you just put a new one in there. But so this is a super advantage, man. This is a super advantage of aquaponics. If you're a thinking man, thinking person, thinking woman, then aquaponics is gonna probably be more up your alley than doing soil, because that requires a lot of heavy duty work that the aquaponic god is not willing to do. Just like some of you guys out there have nightmares of split flow setups, I have nightmares of soil digging and back-breaking soil work. I have those nightmares. I have to be honest and just admit it. I have those nightmares. So aquaponics is going to be my go-to thing until I bite the dust. And you can rest assured, when I bite the dust, I will still have my back. This is Brooklyn St. Michael with the School of Aquaponics. Woo!